Hi crafters, it's Karen, and I have another design team project for Diemond dies, and simply because I've been playing with this sunflower die and the flowers come out so sweet, so I decided to stick them on a project. But first I wanted to share something with you. As much as I love sunflowers, I am really bananas about daisies. So I used this sunflower die to create a couple of daisies, and I think they came out really sweet. So that being able to make a different flower with that die makes the die more versatile, you know. So this particular flower, I used the centers that are provided in the die for the center, and then I went over it with glossy accents, and I sprayed it a little bit with some Lindy's Stamp Gang, and I used my embossing tool to poof it a little bit, and it just made a real sweet daisy. And this is another one, but I used some stickles for the center of this one. I'll probably end up sticking a button in the center though. But I just wanted to share that because that makes that die that much more versatile to create daisies with it. So anyway, what I created was a Tussi Mussie, my very first Tussi Mussie, and I used, like I said, the sunflower die. I used the pine branch die. I used the realistic rose die, and I used the fern die. Really sweet. So those are the dies that I used in my project. I used this K & Company excuse me, paper pad. It's called Cottage Garden. It's an old paper stack, and really sweet for fall type projects. So this is the paper that I used, and as you can see, these are some of my cones. I was inspired by the Tara 148. She had created some really sweet shabby chic Tussi Mussies, and it really made me want to try it. I'd never tried them before. So I went over to Bona's channel. She's Live, Love, Scrap, and she had a video from last year where she made Halloween Tussi Mussies, and a little tutorial where she took her 12 by 12 paper and she was able to roll it. Well, I had a really hard time rolling my 12 by 12 paper, so I came up with my own like template sort of. So these are some of the ones that I created. I just folded this piece back here like that. That was something that Bona had done in one of her Tussi Mussies. So these are cones that I've created, and I'm going to show you real quick how I created them, because you know, in case you don't know, in case you've never created one before. So for me, you know, Bona was able to take her 12 by 12 sheet of paper and then, you know, fold it in and have it come out even and everything else. I couldn't do that. I was having a real hard time. So I just took my 12 by 12 paper and folded it corner to corner up like this. You see that? And then I cut a cone or a rounded edge here, so that when you opened it, you know, it was in a cone shape. And then it made it that much easier to shape in the shape of a cone. Anyway, that's my tip. So this is my Tussi Mussie, and it's really long. So I'm hoping I don't know if I'll be able to get all of it in the shot, but there it is. For this project, I tea dyed a lot of my trims, a few of my trims, and I tea dyed some cheesecloth. Didn't that come out nice? Look at that. It came out so sweet. This is that white cheesecloth, and I just cut off a big piece. I put my tea in a bowl, and I just, you know, sunk that in there. And then I took this trim. This is the white rosette trim from Hobby Lobby. You see how sweet that came out? This was white. Like, it was white like this paper. Really sweet, right? And then I took this other trim, lace from Hobby Lobby, and I tea dyed it, and this came out really sweet. I just love the color that this came out. Really sweet. And you know, when you tea dye something, some pieces of it are a little darker than others, and it just comes out really, really cool. So I tea dyed those for the project, and also this piece here. This is that, I don't know what you call it, but this trim here is from Hobby Lobby, and it was white, and I just took a strip of that and tea dyed it as well. Came out really sweet, I thought. So for my cone, I created my cone, and I stapled it with the tiny attachment in some places, and then I used my glue gun to glue it down the seam. I distressed the top of it, which I don't know if you could see. I distressed the top of it with my Prima tool, and used vintage photo around the edges. And then I took this trim that I just shared with you, and just wrapped it all the way around. Really sweet. And there's the fold. And I had torn a little piece off of the fold in here and stuck, if you could see that in there, that little gold like wire piece. That's this. And this is something I picked up at Michael's, I believe, last year around Christmas time. And I use it quite a bit. If you cut the edges off, it kind of looks like a chain link fence, if you could see that. Anyway, really sweet. I like using that. So that's down inside there. And then I went over the top with the Chinese braid that I picked up at Hobby Lobby from my recent haul. Excuse the glue. And all the way around to finish that off. And then for this seam here down the side, I used this trim from Hobby Lobby that I tea dyed. And then I went and layered it with this burlap trim, also from Hobby Lobby. So I thought that was really sweet. And I know sunflowers have nothing to do with pine branches and fern leaves, but look how pretty. So this is one of the sunflowers that I created with the dye. I believe there's 5 layers here, 3 of the large ones and 2 of the smaller ones. And to color them, I used yellow cardstock, but I did use my Tim Holtz Rusty Hinge and also Wild Honey to color these. And then a little bit of vintage photo. And I just tied the button, the glitter button there. And I just layered it with the ferns. There's one of the realistic roses that I really need practice on. And I sprayed that with my Tattered Angels. Here's another one of the sunflowers. This one came out really sweet, and I used one of the Michael's metal flower brads. I believe these are new, but I used one of these as the center for this one. Came out really cute. And here's another one. And for this one, I used the little centers that come with the die, the little pieces that come with the die, and I laid them in there. I cut them with brown cardstock and used my glossy accents over them. And then, and this sunflower, a couple of these sunflowers I used white cardstock and colored them in the same way with the Tim Holtz Distress inks. But for this one, I just put in some seed beads. Came out really sweet. So those are my flowers, my sunflowers. After I went around the edge with that lace and the Chinese braid, I stuck a half of a doil here from Julie the Paper Bag Lady up there. And then there's one behind here. This sunflower is sitting on the doily. And then down here, as like it's coming out of this edge, I put a larger one. The doilies I didn't tea dye. These came this beautiful color. And there's some of the tea dyed cheesecloth and that I layered on top of the pine branches and the ferns, and I just thought it was really sweet. I just really loved the color that those came out. I did accent it with some of these Wild Orchid Craft walnut colored roses. I added some Recollections bling. Over here is another piece of that wire mesh ribbon that I shared with you, and I laid that here just for a little bit of sparkle. And some more cheesecloth. Did some more layering. This is also seam binding that I had tea stained like this. This was white seam binding, and I dropped this in the tea as well. A big piece of this seam binding, and I just made a bow here. And also on the other side. For the little holes there, I used my crocodile and put in a couple of large eyelets. And this gingham, brown gingham ribbon is from Lydia. Thank you so much, Lydia. I think this was wrapped around something that she had sent me, so I made good use out of it. So I just thought the flowers came out really sweet, and with some bling and the pine branches. It's kind of gave it a nice rustic fall feel. For inside, I just stuffed this tissue paper here, and what I was thinking about doing was adding like a little nest, adding a nest and adhering that in, and maybe a bird. So it would be a bird in the nest inside the Tussi Mussie. I thought that would be cute. I'm not sure if I'll do it to this one. But I thought it came out really sweet. And then for the bottom, for charms, I just looped this burlap trim back up and around so I could hang a garment pin with a chain. And I added these little baubles. This is a Tim Holtz pearl. This is, I believe, a piece of an Arctic cake. This orange charm is just one that I found in my stash. And this is a rustic star that I had taken off of something at one time or another. So those hang at the bottom. So I thought it came out really sweet, and I'm really glad that I finally created a Tussi Mussie. And as you saw, I have a few more cones, so I will complete those. Maybe do one for Halloween. That'll be fun. So these are the dies that I used. The coupon code Karen's Friend is still good. It's good till good till October 15th. You'll get 10% off of your order and also free shipping. So use coupon code Karen's Friend. I'll put the link to the diemonddies.com below. And I forgot what I was going to say. And anyway, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.